All right, we are back with another episode of Draft Prep for the 2021 MLB Drafts. We're joined by a pretty special guest today. We've got Jeff Petty, head coach, Canes National. Jeff, you've got another star-studded roster for this calendar year. You've got some guys that have, more definitive first-round names. You got Max DeBeck, you got Philip Abner, Malachi Knight, Camden Hayslip, Alex Mooney. There's a number of guys on this year's team. Talk to me a little bit about what it's been like coaching such premier talent, not only this year, but just on a year-to-year basis.
Yeah, I mean, we're super fortunate that we've been able to, get good players in our system, and coaching good players is a lot of fun. Obviously, the higher level that it is, the more fun it can be. But all those kids you mentioned, I mean, they're extremely great young men. They're competitors. They've wanted to win. I think Showcase can get a bad rap where kids just want to go out and do what they want to do, and that hasn't been the case at all with our players. And I think it'll serve them well, moving forward in their careers, competing and trying to actually win baseball games.
You talk a little bit about, how sometimes these showcase events can get a bad reputation of, it's all about me. I want to improve my stock. It's not about the team. On that same tone, what is it like being an integral part of grooming these young men into more than just baseball players?
Well, I mean, I think we take a lot of responsibility with that. And that's the big thing that we try to sell them early on, is that this is a team atmosphere. We're trying to win. It's not about you. And we've been really successful. I mean, I also contributed to just having good kids. We don't play a role. I mean, these kids have good parents. They're brought up right. And maybe we've been gotten lucky, inheriting really good kids from really good families. And they have put the team first. But, being able to maybe take a kid that is selfish and he is thinking about himself and maybe get him to get on our page first. There's definitely some positives for that, and that's rewarding for sure. We always kind of try to tell them, goals first, and the personal goals will follow. And it has been our experience that that usually does work out that way.
Okay. I want to talk to you a little bit about the recruitment into the Canes program, because it's an extremely successful program. It goes all the way back to 12U and beyond. Without going back and looking at the roster as it currently stands, how many of these kids have been brought up all the way through the ranks, or is it something that a kid will pop when they're 15 or 16 and then they'll come in? I guess what sort of reach, what sort of touch do you have on these kids going back the last 5-6 years?
Yeah, so I mean, on our national team, it's truly a national team. So you're looking at kids from all over the country, and some of them do come through. Yes, you got Cole Messina, from the state of South Carolina. He's come all the way through. Abner is from North Carolina, and there's plenty of guys that have come through, but I think on that national team, they might pop at 15 and you get them in the program, and they might just be an add-on. There's guys that we're getting from just this fall. There's guys that we picked up this summer in their first year guys. And I think they fill that need for what you're looking for to compete at the level that we're trying to compete at. There are kids that come through at 10, 11, 12 years old, and they come all the way through. And, like Cody Schreier, for instance, him and Mooney are our shortstops. Mooney was with us last year. Schreier was supposed to be with us last year, but he was injured and didn't play with us last year. But there's kids coming through the program that, aren't quite at their level. There's some kids who are looking for scholarships, and they're not going to be on our national club when you're looking for a scholarship in your senior year.
Right.
So, there might be some guys that are committed to mid-majors or even committed to high-level Division I's. And, Schreier and Mooney are just, they're a notch above on the depth chart. There's still a place for them in a program. On that top club, I think you're looking more draft prospects, It's just a different level, if that makes sense. I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag. I think, there's a kids coming through a program that, they might play Division III baseball. They might play junior college baseball, whatever the case may be. I think there's a place for all of them. It's just kind of just different tiers, if that makes sense.
Yeah. When it comes to, being a successful program like the one that you're running, is there even that much recruitment done anymore? Or is it something like, there's kids flocking to Canes trying to become part of something that's really special?
Yeah, I mean, we recruit. We're really fortunate that a lot of people recruit us, and that's good. And you have to kind of pick and choose, who you take, and that's a great position to be in, and we're fortunate for that. I think looking at last year transitioning in, we knew we had Schreier, we knew we had Mooney, we had Messina coming back, and we wanted to bring in an elite outfielder, a couple of elite outfielders, and we were able to do that. And we wanted to bring in an elite catcher, and then we kind of targeted the Lastris kid. We made a phone call, and he committed right away. So, when you go into I'm sure the same thing will happen here in the next couple of weeks. I'm really focused on finishing this year out with this group. We're kind of eyeballing Jupiter, and it just got moved to Fort Myers. But that'll be the end of these travel ball careers for those kids, and we're focused on that. But then, kind of get with the 22 group coach and go over their roster. And I'm sure that there'll be, a need or two, and we'll kind of go over who's reached out to us, and then kind of go over what we see that's out there and maybe make a call or two. But that roster is, pretty solidified going into next year. That's a long-winded answer I just gave you, but, we're really fortunate that guys want to play for us.
Yeah, no, it's a good position to be in. I want to talk to you a little bit about your current roster, because this show is dedicated to the current draft class, and so we like to focus on that as best we can. There's a couple guys on your roster specifically that here at Prospects Live we think are going to be big ascenders as we move into next February, March, April, kind of into that hot period, if you will. Talk to me a little bit about Gage Jump, because he's a guy that performs at every single level. He doesn't have the stature of a prototypical, big league pitcher per se, but that narrative is kind of changing a little bit in big league ball. So what have you seen from Gage, and what do you think is his ceiling, or where do you see him going?
Gage has the it factor that, you can't coach it. It's the mental capacity to there's no situation too big for that kid. I've barely seen him struggle, this year. He actually did come in a big spot this weekend for us against East Cobb, and they had a loaded lineup, and he got 2 quick outs. And then the next thing you look up, the bases were loaded. I personally feel like he got squeezed a little bit in that game. The umpire started squeezing him. And a lot of times when players get squeezed, they'll start showing it on mound language. He never showed an ounce of bad body language during all that, and he pitched out. He punched out to end the game. I remember seeing him in the hotel lobby that evening. I was like, Gage, you just has had such a great season for us this year, and you've just been outstanding all year. And the kid just wants to win. He wants to compete. Again, I think the mental side of it, just no situation's too big, and the kid wants to win. And I don't know that you could put a ceiling on that. And as far as stuff, I mean, the breaking ball is real, and the fastball, I mean, he can throw it on both sides of the plate wherever he wants. I mean, he's a command guy, a competitor. He's the kind of guy you want to have the ball in the big spots.
Yeah, he's a bit of a data darling too. Those pitches really, really play up. I mean, the release point, the spin efficiencies, everything about it. He may only give you 92 or 93, but I can promise you it looks like 97 at the top of the zone. Yeah, Gage is a big deal to us. Talk to me a little bit about a guy that maybe hasn't been as present on the kind of the showcase circuit. I guess he wasn't at the last Perfect Game showcase event, and that's Philip Abner. Kid just oozes with polish. What do you think?
Yeah, Philip's got a big fastball. I mean, I think he's touched 97 with us. Also a competitive kid, big breaking ball and wants to win and compete. And, there's a huge ceiling on that kid. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if he's throwing 100 this spring. I mean, it's just crazy that we're talking like that with high school kids are throwing hard nowadays. But Phil, he's taking the fall off. We're going to try to, get stronger or whatever. But, what a great kid, great teammate. Everyone loved him. And, you never felt like every time that he had the ball, you always felt like you had a chance no matter who you were playing.
Yeah. Yeah, he seems like the type of kid that if he does get to Gainesville, he's just going to be a stud in college baseball. I don't know if he's going to get to Gainesville, but he certainly has that dominant college pitcher feel to him. Talk about a little bit about the hitters. You brought up Alex Mooney. You brought up Cody Schreier. You got Curtis Reed too. You are kind of stacked right now on the infield with plus guys. Talk to me a little bit about the kids you got on the dirt.
Yeah, we've actually, Cole Messina's played a heck of a third base for us, and he's someone that people don't talk about. And honestly, if we needed to win a game, and we want Cole in the box, and that's crazy to say because obviously Mooney, Schreier, everybody. I mean, we're blessed with talent all over the field, but defensively, I don't know if Mooney and Schreier made an error this summer. Matter of fact, I don't think they did. And to be able to when you can throw strikes and then balls sit on the ground and those guys make the plays. And yeah, this infield right here is as good as it's ever been for us with Mooney, Schreier, Reed, and now Messina in there. It's a solid defensive infield at the amateur level.
Yeah. I mean, the outfield is no slouch either. You might have, 3 guys that go in the top 50 or 60 in Dalen Lyle, Malachi Knight, and Camden Hayslip. So you're chock full all over the field. Talk to me a little bit about the kids that you have roaming the grass out there.
Yeah, Reese Holbrook, is not someone that, you've seen on a lot of draft boards, but he's led off for us. He's kind of led our team in on-base percentage this year, finds a way to get on. He's a speedster. I think he transferred. I think they ran like a 6'5" or 6'4" at East Coast Pro. So we've got him, and then you get mentioned Lyle and Knight and Hayslip. The 3 of those guys are getting a lot of pub, from the draft, and they all deserve it. Big-time hitters, big-time speed, ceiling for power. All 3 of them could hit for power, at the next level. Arm strength, the whole thing. Again, when the ball's hitting the air, there's a pretty good chance that it's going to be caught. You got 4 center fielders running around. Yeah. So, there's not really a corner in outfielder per se on our roster. So that's, we're fortunate to have that.
I want to hit you with a question that might really interest viewers and listeners. And that is, a lot of these, like you mentioned, the Hayslips, the Knights, Dalen Lyles, Mooney, even Schreier, they're getting all this draft pub, but they're also taking up, starting positions from guys that have a ton of talent as well. I guess my question is, who are we not talking about on the Canes roster right now that you specifically think is just a stud that should be getting more press?
I could go to Cole Messina. Cole Messina for me, the kid is just a consistent, steady Eddie player. He played up for us last year, led our team in batting average last year. He's really dialed in right now. He's the guy that you go to the ballpark and he's consistently, you look at the box score, he's got a couple hits on pretty much every game. You rarely see him strike out. He grinds out at bats. And we face everybody's number one. And you look at the end of the year and you see how many strikeouts Cole has, and he'll always be he'll have the lowest strikeouts on the team. I think that speaks to, what kind of a hitter you are when you're facing what we're facing and you're not striking out. So that's just going to play well for him. I don't know what's going to happen with him in the draft. Maybe someone sees what we see and he gets some money and he signs. I don't know, but he's going to be a heck of a college player for South Carolina. I think he steps in right there right away and hits in the order freshman in the SEC and has a lot of success. And that's purely based off of just what I've seen for 2 straight years with him.
How about
no one's talking about – everyone's talking about Clifford for the next year's class, but, he's played up this year and done a great job for us. He's a heck of a first baseman, can play the outfield, and left-handed hitter, has the ability. He's starting to really zone in and look to, hit the ball the other way. He's not just a pull guy. that kid right there has got a chance for sure.
How about really quickly? How about an arm as well?
Oh, I mean, obviously Debick, is a big name, and there's a ceiling on him. He touched a 7 this summer, and skin and bones, that kid. I mean, you imagine 15 pounds on that kid.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to see in 2 years. I mean, you're going to see more weight on that guy. I mean, it's kind of hard. And the deception of his delivery, it's kind of wild to think what he's going to be. When he's 20, 21 years old, it's going to be pretty interesting if you can get a crystal ball there and kind of dream on that for a minute, what he's going to be in 3 years.
Yeah.
But we just got so many guys. I mean, Eric Silva was there this weekend. That was 93, 95, and that changeup was as good a high school changeup as I've seen. And for me, I feel like the changeup is the best pitch baseball. And with his arm speed and deception on his changeup, we're just, we can talk all day about our staff. I mean, we were just so fortunate with guys that can really pitch.
Yeah. No, just another arm for UCLA to mold. Silva's a good one. I want to talk to you a little bit about that Debick thing. Just because not specifically Debick, but Max Debick, Malachi Knight, Corbin Carroll, Ian Ritchie. I think you've got Sam Boyle coming through the program. What is it about these Northwest kids that are drawn to Canes?
I don't know. We got Corbin Carroll. I was really good friends with Matt Blood, who used to run the USA baseball team. And we needed a center fielder, and it was one of those things where we really needed a center fielder in that class. And he mentioned Corbin Carroll's name. I started doing some research, talking to some scouts, watching some video, and I called his mom, and they were all in. And he came and he played a full summer with us, never really missed anything, and had an outstanding year. We'll take no credit for that kid's success. I mean, he showed up and he was what he was. Remember, first round of batting practice he took for us in Raleigh that year. I think he must have hit like 15 out. And it was just like, who is this little kid just hitting balls 100 feet? And, the rest is kind of history. He had a great experience. I don't know if these other Northwest kids saw the success he had with us. And, then they started filing in. But you start mentioning Ritchie, Debick, and Knight. I mean, those guys can really, really play. And I think it's just kind of a perfect match. I mean, they're looking to play high-level baseball. We're looking to get high-level players in the door. And it's kind of a match made in heaven with those guys.
Yeah. No, you're pulling a big crop from the Pacific Northwest. That's for sure. Well, Jeff, I mean, I don't have too many more questions for you. I don't want to keep you too long. Really appreciate your time. If there is an outstanding message or something that you want to share here before we pop off the air, the floor is yours.
No, I appreciate you having me, Joe. I mean, it's all about these kids, right? And, you're covering baseball and you're covering kids, and that's an awesome job to have. And I think we're all in this thing together, right? I mean, it's not about you. It's not about me. It's about these players and about these kids. And hopefully, they're all working hard. They got a goal in mind. And if any of us can help facilitate, that, then that's what it's all about.
That's right. Amateur baseball. That's where it's at. Well, Jeff, like I said, I don't have any more questions for you. We'll let you go. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. We will be back next time with another great interview. But that'll do it for us today. Thank you, Jeff.
Yep. Thank you.
Peace.